Welcome aboard, sailors! Today we're going to talk about how to pick an effective quote to match the thesis that you wrote earlier.
We're going to use some vocabulary in order to do this, and some of it you've heard and some of it you haven't, but we're going to go back over it anyway. So you're going to, like always, write this down in your notebook using the Cornell Notes style. So put your word on the left and put the definition on the right.
The first word you'll be writing down is citation, which is a quote from a credited source to support a thesis. So it's not just a quote, but it's a quote that you also give credit to where the source came from. We'll talk about how to do that today.
Then we have a direct quotation. That's the exact words that a speaker or author says that is placed in quotation marks. Again, these don't have to be dialogue. It's anything that was written down that you got from somebody else.
Last but not least is paraphrasing, and this is when you write the text in your own words that still explains the original idea from the different text. So paraphrasing is very different from a direct quotation. It's when you say what happened in the text, but you do not directly quote the text. Alright, so first thing we're going to talk about is how to correctly format a quotation pulled from a text. So a quote from a text needs to always have first quotation marks, a citation in parentheses like you see in red there, and the exact words from the text. There can be no changes when you quote a text for a citation.
And now we're going to give you an example. So if we look at paragraph 3 in Harrison Bergeron, and we decide this is where we want to take our quote from,
we have this first sentence that reads, "It was tragic, all right, but George and Hazel couldn't think about it very hard." Maybe we want to use this to support a thesis about how George and Hazel have an inability to really evaluate their society. So, to pull this quote and cite it in our text, we've got to make it look like this. See how in the box we have direct quotations around the exact words from the text with no changes, punctuation included. At the end, we have the parenthetical citation that says paragraph 3, where it came from, and actually, as I see this, I notice we made one very small mistake. The period for that sentence actually goes outside of the bracket and the parentheses, so punctuation goes after the parentheses, not before. So, notice again, quotation marks, parenthetical citation, where we indicate the paragraph number that the text came from, and punctuation to end it after that, with no changes to the words from the text.
So we're going to practice picking quotes that go along with what it is you're trying to say. So if our claim is that high school sports are a negative influence on high schools, which of these quotes would best support that claim?
You only have to write the matching letter in your notebook like the instructions on the screen say, so don't write these massive block quotes in your text. Just look through these 3 parenthetically cited quotes and pick the one that best would support this claim. Only one of them will. Go ahead and pause the video now and take care of this. Alright, Sailor, we're going to have you match another quote to another claim. So if we return to the claim that the driving age should be 16, you should check out these answers, A, B, and C. Write down the letter in your notebook of the claim which would best support the evidence, that would best support the claim we have above. Pause the video now and take care of this.
And lastly, we are going to pick a quote that matches the claim that cell phones should be allowed in school. So of A, B, and C, which of these quotes best proves that cell phones should be allowed in school?
Pause the video now and just write down the letter. Remember, you do not need to write the whole quote. Just write A, B, or C of which letter would best support this claim.
Remember when you're doing this that your formatting needs to match what we went over earlier in this slide. Don't just assume that it's formatted correctly here.
All right. Now, to move on, we're going to have you start looking for your own quotes. You need to go to Google Classroom, click Springboard Online, log in with Clever, click eBooks 1.0, and log in to Springboard Activity 2.3. You're just returning to Harrison Bergeron. When you open it up, it's very likely that Harrison Bergeron should already be open because it's the last thing you were supposed to do in the book anyway. Pause the video now, get your Springboard Online out.
If you prefer to have it on paper, that is an option also.
Yep, just raise your hand, we'll get you that book. Alright, Sailor, now that you have Harrison Bergeron ready to go, it's time for us to think really carefully about quotes that would actually go with a claim from Harrison Bergeron. So think about this claim that society created laws to spread equality. This is a claim that somebody could make writing about Harrison Bergeron. We need you, just like we did earlier, and pick, quote, A, B, C, or D that best would match this claim, that society created laws to spread equality. Look over these answers, and again, just write the letter that best matches this claim in your notebook. And if you're not sure if you're matching effectively, make sure you get the attention of the teacher, and we'll be happy to help you out and support you.
All right, now to bring it all the way back, we're going to have you, not any help from us, look in a very specific area to do your own quote matching without us finding them for you. You're going to look in Harrison Bergeron again. Ballerinas were made to look equal. That's the claim. So go to paragraphs 7 through 12 and find a quote in there that supports that ballerinas were made to look equal.
Make sure that you include your quotation marks and that parenthetical citation. So correctly format a quote and make sure that you demonstrate you know exactly how to quote the text correctly to match the claim, ballerinas were made to look equal. All right, we're going to do this one more time. In your notebook, we need you to write down a quote that will match this claim. Harsh punishments are used when people don't obey the equality laws. In this case, you can check out paragraphs 24 to 34 or 70 to 78. And these are just suggestions. There's actually a few more places in the text, some even earlier than we showed here, where you could very easily find evidence to support this.
So again, don't forget to include quotation marks and a citation. Bringing you back to this, because we're using the text, make sure that your citations have a paragraph number in them. And yeah, that's it.
All right, get to work, Sailor.